Hello, good evening, welcome to Easy 8's Online Painting Club. My name's Danny, it says it right down there at the bottom of the screen, and I've got a couple of things to report. The first one is, it is so much more comfortable temperature-wise. It is so much cooler in the studio today. The temperature's been dipping down a little bit just generally, and I've also got the fan on a little pedestal just underneath the desk, blowing at just the correct position to be kind of having a little bit of nice airflow that actually hits me and kind of, it's very, very nice. Feeling much more comfortable. But I have noticed in a little microphone test just before the show started that there was a little bit of noise pickup. So if you're ever going to hear the fan in the background, it's probably going to be today. If you do hear it and it is distracting, do let me know, because I can turn it off because it is quite comfortable here in the studio. Or I can just kind of move it somewhere else, I suppose. I hope you guys have all been well over this past week. I actually got to do a little bit of hobby stuff during the week, but then the week got very, very busy for me. I hope you guys have been able to kind of catch up a little bit and do some stuff too, being that it's the summer holidays and you might be entertaining kids or just out and about doing some cool stuff. If you're new here to the channel, Easy 8 isn't about like a painting tutorial or anything like that at all. It is just literally a place where you can get together, make some friends, or get together with some friends over here in the live chat with these guys, and just kind of, you know, talk about the projects that you're doing, that you're painting, and just get some motivation, and maybe, like, you know, some inspiration. That would be cool, to get your stuff done, because we've all got like hordes of, you know, mountains and mountains of grey plastic building up. I've got boxes of it sat right here. It's very daunting looking at it. Nope, not going to look at it. It's too daunting. I've got a new watch. It's very flashy. Thank you very much. Just caught that in the camera there. I've been showing it off to everybody. Treated myself as a nice one. So yeah, a bit of bling for you there. What am I going to be doing this week? Well, last week you will remember that I was painting some of my Adeptus Mechanicus, my Martians, in the Ryza colours. Ryza is basically an orange version of them. I like the oranges. I made some errors last week, some poor choices, just playing around with the new silvers, then tried to paint the oranges over the top. That was that was a mistake, and how I persevered and pushed through that. I've never had problems before painting over metallics, but this metallic, I got those problems, and even during midweek I was on probably layer 10 of the orange colour trying to go over that silver, and it was still coming out as a dark, murky silver orange. It was terrible. I've learned my lesson, and I have gone during that show. I learned my lesson, and I started painting them with an off-white colour. Excuse me. Screaming Skull by Citadel is actually a really good white colour, or off-white colour, and it's got a really high pigmentation. I get a lot of success with it in other places as well, and for me it worked as an undercoat. I was able to paint it over the top of that silver and then the orange over the top, and it didn't bleed through. It was a great success. So I've learned. I apologise. During midweek I just basically tried to catch up on that mistake, and it's going really well. I've got a little bit to do. I've got one more to kind of bring up the speed. He's still got white bits on him, but he was the silver one, so yeah, cool. And I've also been painting this robot, which is a lot larger. Is that a right sentence? Considerably a lot larger miniature than the standard troops, and they come in twos, and he is supposed to be like quite a big guy. And I found a picture of him in the Codex, which is obviously the support book, the rules book for this army, and I saw him painted up in these colours. I was like, yeah, I kind of want to do that as well, and they look like they're fairly easy to paint, with some little bits of intricate detail on them, but generally large open panels that I could just kind of get painted, and it's another miniature done. So I've got him to kind of go backwards and forwards from. If I start like getting bogged down and slowed down again by poor choices or detailed miniatures, then I've got something else to bounce over to, and it's also something a little bit more different for you guys to have a look at. Over in the live chat today, then I've got Jeff Lacey. Oi, he's always the first one in. Hi, Dad. Thanks very much for coming along. Cheers. And I've got Leslie Stebbing. Greetings, fellow peeps. Hi, Leslie. Thanks for the very different greeting there. Cool. If you like what we do over here at Easy 8, please don't forget that we're not just here on YouTube. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and on Discord as well. So if you do like what we do, please do like, follow, and subscribe, because every little bit that you do really helps me make this channel grow. And that's important to me because I like doing this. It's fun. I'm bad at it, but it's fun. So yeah, please do subscribe and tell your friends, tell other people. Yeah, get Easy 8 out there. It's 59 subscribers, which I think is phenomenal. I never thought we'd ever get past 10, and that was with like friends and family helping out as well. So to be like on the doorstep of 60 is absolutely brilliant as far as I'm concerned. I'm really chuffed. We've had a few more followers recently on Facebook. Welcome to the show, guys. If you are watching this, and also lately, like for some reason, Instagram's been going bonkers. I've had loads of new followers on Instagram. So for you guys, I promise I will start making more content for Instagram. Apologies for being slow on that one. So yes, please smash that subscribe button. Hit the little bell icon as well. I haven't said that for a while, so you never miss a treat. Because lately I'm getting really lazy at making the schedules for the show. So if I haven't made that one in time for you, hitting the bell icon means that you won't miss out. Cool, because you'll get an alert. There you go. I'm going to move over to the workbench. The camera is playing up. Is it doing its thing? It's not doing its thing already. So last week, this camera, I reported that it was getting very hot, and it is still quite warm right now. Basically, I think that it was overheating because it was being used continuously. There's a little option with this camera where it says it could deactivate when not in use. So when you're looking at just my screen, it's not working. I turned that off. Sorry, I turned that as an option on. I didn't want it working in the background to kind of de-stress it, if you like. And it seemed to work for that show. But today it's not. It's been working throughout the week as well. So obviously I've been talking to friends and things on Discord, and it was working absolutely fine. Today it's not, and it's not very hot in this studio, so I know it's not that. So there's more than likely a problem with this camera. I'm going to persevere as much as I can with the camera. I'm going to apologise for the errors it's going to bring. It freezes a lot, and I will try to swap it out with another camera and maybe get this one sent back to the manufacturer to see if I can get it sorted out, because they're expensive, man. So yeah, it might just be the connection. It might be the cable. So I might have a little play around. Just work at the moment is hectic. So bear with me a second while I reboot this camera. Yeah, I've got my hand underneath it. You can't see that, and it's not doing it at all, which is a real shame. Let me just kind of go into the back door here. I'm just going to turn it off. This is my little go-to trick, but I just don't know how long it's going to keep on doing this. Here we go, and I'm going to turn it back on again. Pow, there's my hands. Apologies straight off the bat. And I'm back. Let's go back to the workbench. Here is my hand. Sorry about that. So Leslie says it's because the show is cool. It's relaxed, so people can paint or build to their heart's content, but also people can chat and have a laugh. Best of both worlds. Thanks very much, man. That's some really kind words. That's exactly what it is about. I don't want it to be about showboating. I'm not a very good painter, though I've been painting for years. I'm not the greatest gamer, though I've been gaming for years. And it's just a place for me and you guys to come and have a little bit of fun and just, get stuff painted. Apologies not needed, dude. Thank you so much. Here's my robot that I've been painting. He looks very orange on my screen, like it's almost glowing, but it is a rubbish screen. Hopefully it does it kind of justice there. I painted him orange. I painted some black bits on it, as you can see. I've also painted some red fists on him. They were all done with airbrush, and then I slapped some Seraphim sepia over it. I tried to avoid kind of major pooling on any of the large panels. I didn't want to kind of get too bogged down with filters, and I didn't want it to like be a cheap way into like weathering or anything like that. I like there's a little bit on it, that's cool, but it did a really good number in all of these little lines and creases. There's a couple of bits where it hasn't really kind of sat in there, but I can do some more with that. It has got these two little pools on the shoulders. They're not on the backs. You've got these two little pools here, and I'm going to use a little bit of airbrush cleaner just on the end of a really small brush and just see if I can blend that away. Leslie said he looks like a Marvin. Well, there you go, Marvin the Martian robot. Yeah, I'm going to see if I can just kind of pull those away so they don't have that heavy pooling. I like it. The Seraphim Sepia really tones the orange down because it is an in-your-face colour. I don't want to go too heavy with much weathering stuff at the moment anyway, because I do want to use 2 oranges. This is the orange that I've been using, hot orange. My camera has just frozen. I see that. I just saw that happen. And I've also got orange fire. I'll hold on to the camera up here. I've got orange fire. It's a slightly brighter one, which I want to do some like chips or scratches and things like that on it. I do hope that this camera does not get bogged down in, you know, just overheating rubbish, etc. I'm just going to pull the plug right out of it, right there. Yeah, and it's still on the screen, so it's just freezing on there. It's rubbish. Look at that. God, inferior technology. Marvin the Martian. Turn it off. Plug it back in again. I really hope it's like a connection. I hope it's like a cable or something. And not the actual camera. It's doing a weird thing now where I'm not actually allowed to select it as another camera. So what you're going to do now is you're going to see me upside down. Here we go. And it still doesn't want to work, does it? Okay, cool. Let's start again. Keslin's come to join us. Hi, Keslin. As you'll notice, straight off the bat, straight back into more camera problems this week. So yeah, definitely a problem with the camera because it is much cooler in the studio today. Here we go. Cool. So back on. So yeah, the 2 oranges that I was talking about. Here's one orange. Here's another orange. Trying to get into some focus. Is it going to focus? Doesn't need to. You can see the 2 different colours, and I'm going to use this one as like an undercoat so that I can do some chips, etc. Cool. Yeah, so that's the robot, but I'm not going to start with the robot today. I'm going to get straight on over with these little ranger dudes. You can see that I've had great success. Oh my goodness, the camera has frozen again. That is awful. This is going to get really, really frustrating today, isn't it? Let's come away from here. Let's go back to me. So, what have I got? I've got some little Martian guys. I've got the little orange cloaks. You can see that orange there is really, really vibrant, really, really popping. I haven't painted the insides yet. They're going to be red. They're going to be crimson. Here is one with the crimson on the inside. So, it's got a bit of red, bit of orange on him. This one needs to be painted orange on the outside. They've got like little sleeves up here, and they've got hoods obviously as well. So it's been quite important to just kind of make sure that I'm getting in all the right little places to make sure that there's enough orange in them. Because I get so OCD about it. Once I've done the model, if I see something that I've missed, I can't sleep until it's done. So yeah, I've had to make sure that I've gone back through very thoroughly. Now, one of the things on here that you can't see at the moment because we're not on the main camera is this silver is completely unwashed, meaning that I haven't put like a shade over or a washing color. In the same way that I've done the Seraphim Sepia on the robot, I wanted to kind of run into all the creases, and I did that in the past on these older ones here. With Basilicanum Grey, which is great for using standard silvers. This isn't a standard silver, and I don't know if Basilicanum Grey is the right way to go because it's a contrast paint. It's more inclined to create a filter effect. So it might be that I actually go back to good old Nuln oil and let it just run into the creases. I'm not going to sludge wash any of it. I kind of want it to get in and around all the plates, etc. I'm not sure what to do on it yet. I'm going to do one as a test, let it dry, come back to it, because Nuln oil might behave itself on this paint because it is particularly good. So yeah, we'll see. Some comments going in here. Jeff says, yeah, I like him, very old sci-fi. Leslie agrees, very old school. Yeah, he's kind of got Robbie the Robot vibes, isn't he? Which I really like that. I like all the old sci-fi classics. I'm a massive fan of them. And I really like steampunk, so it's a great crossover of like themes and things. So yeah, I'm going to give this camera one more try, and then we'll just see what happens. Because it might be that we have to ditch this camera this evening, and that would be a shame because it's a painting show, not a staring at this face show. Let me just come back to the workbench. It has frozen on. It's completely gone there. Let's go into the back door. I will deactivate this camera. There we go. I will unplug it. Plug it back in. Behave yourself, camera. Here we are. Okay, to the workbench. Here we are. So yes, you can see the silvers on them. I'm really into the silver. It works so well. Waiting for that autofocus to come in. It's frozen again, hasn't it? That is so frustrating. I will do my very best to replace a camera. It's just not a very easy thing to do during the show. So my apologies for that. It's a real bummer. I'm going to come away from the workbench and maybe we can change the tone and tempo of the show a little bit. And I'll just do some work. We can talk as we always do. Summer holidays, it's not like it's the busiest show in the world at the moment. So that's I suppose that's a fortunate side effect. Yeah, and we'll just try and keep it light, and I'll show you regularly what I'm doing. So I will get straight on to painting with my orange. I'm going to move my robots over here. I've got a very mucky workbench. So really need to sort that webcam out. Perhaps Kez in the past, I'm so glad that you've come online at the last second there. Perhaps because you've helped me deal with some of the technical problems in the past, maybe we can arrange a time for you to kind of come over and have another look, because I feel that with your help that we were getting very close to understanding what the problems were. It might be a conflict, but I don't think it is. It gets so hot. Is it still running now? It is still running now. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull that plug out. There we go. Hopefully that's... Yep, okay. I'm just going to see if that gets any cooler. So strange. So strange. Poor little thing. The old camera never used to do this, did it? That's that one up there right now. Right, well... If you are working, Kes says, yeah, we can come over and have another look. Cheers, mate. Thank you very much. If you are working on any projects this evening, do let me know, because I am really interested to know what you are working on. I love hearing from you guys. I love knowing what it is that you're working on. I love seeing your successes, and I like helping you through your failures. I get a lot of people kind of you're getting in contact with me, asking me, about bits of advice, and I don't think I'm a very advice kind of a guy, but it seems that a lot of the time I am helping people, and that's really humbling. That's really nice. I didn't think I was that sort of a person. There's so many other places out there, so many other people and service providers, etc., that I just don't think that I'm worthy of all that. But apparently some people disagree. So cheers. Just changed from a 0 to a 2 in terms of size of my brush, even though they are very tiny detailed miniatures. These cloaks are quite large sweeping parts of the model where I can actually get a large brush in there, get better coverage, try to avoid brush strokes as much as possible. I might have to come back in a minute with a slightly smaller brush just to get in behind some of the details. I was very skeptical about this colour scheme to start with. When I first started with orange, it was just because I identified it as a colour that I've not really worked with. I was painting my Tyranids, which we all know are yellow, and I was playing around with oranges in certain areas on them to kind of like offer like tonal variations and things like that, just like biological patterns, like animalistic patterns and things. Didn't really work, and I thought to myself, I've not really worked with orange before. So when I got into doing the Martians, I was quite keen to play with a new colour that I've not done with anything with before, so I moved into orange. When I bought the book, which I got before anything else, I wanted to know what I was buying, like in terms of models. And I realised that there was an army that is orange. There's lots of different like styles and colours and things. But the orange one, Ryza, is pays homage, however you want to pronounce it, to Mars, because they're their ancestors, by having red incorporated into their colour scheme. And they have orange as their main thing. And I thought, well, orange and red together is going to awful opportunity for it to clash, but it doesn't. It's not that bad actually. I quite like it. Once you got it all right. I'm looking at my miniatures that I've painted now. The red's actually quite difficult to see inside their cloaks. It's not a massive issue. And on the robot, the red hands actually look quite cool. I quite like that. So yeah. But I was really worried about it. What stands out from the orange on them is the silver and all like the metallic colours and things. So when I was painting them, I had it in my head that the red and the orange were going to be like the two primary colours on the model. They were going to be the two sort of play off against each other. But actually, it's more metallics versus orange, and this red is like just an afterthought almost, really. And it works. Took me a long time to kind of get the technique all right, or when I was painting those first ones, go like, I don't know how this is going to go. What am I going to do? How am I going to paint these? So my idea now is, my plan is just to try and keep on painting them and just get better at it and faster, much faster. I've got so many models to get through. I don't want to be bogged down with painting details that you're barely going to look at on infantry, and like I say, I get so caught up in it, I can't help myself. Jeff says, what's your favourite old-fashioned sci-fi film then? That's a good question. I'm a big old fan of the old Lost in Space series, and I've really liked the new sort of reboot version on Netflix. If you haven't seen that, you need to whiz on over. They do a lot of paying respects to the old one, but like Robbie the Robot is something else. He's really good, but they've made him deliberately not like the old Robbie, which is cool. Was he called Robbie the Robot in that, or was he called Robbie the Robot in that Steve? Was it Steve Martin or was it Leslie? No, Leslie Nielsen movie. There was a robot in there, and I think he was called Robbie in that. I can't remember now. Anyway, yeah, I think a favourite old sci-fi movie. There's so many to choose from. I like The Thing. I like both the original and the 1986 version. I think it was 1986. It might be 1981 actually, or 82. It was very close to my birth, so maybe it was early 80s, very early 80s. Just painting the sleeves on him that you can't see. Lovely. Some other comments going in. Leslie says, Chaos Knight, Jerry Can, the Knight, Abominants. Really enjoying painting this one. It's a big boy, isn't it? They're big models, they are. And obviously yours is like a Chaos one, a Nurgle one to go along with your themed army. Really interested to see what you do with that paint scheme. There's a lot on there to kind of really take your time and get stuck into it. Really enjoy the model. Of course, knights are at the point where they're starting to take mini out of the word miniature. But I've got one just up there beside me. I did show it off on one of the shows a little while ago when I first got this big box of Adeptus Mechanicus that a friend from work gave me when they moved house. And he's all painted and everything, and I don't want to paint it. I don't want to repaint it. It's got such a lovely hand-painted job on it that I'm really interested in like incorporating it into my army as like almost a thank you to my friend. Jeff's just put in there 1982. Yeah, I thought it was early. 86 was Aliens, which is my favourite film of all time. Yeah, I guess it makes a good point. There are too many good films to pick a favourite. There really are. Oh, Black and White, Forbidden Planet. That's the one I'm trying to remember. Yeah, that's right up there. I like it because you never see the thing until they got the force field on. Then you just kind of see an impression of it. And even though it's old, it still is really good. And I can imagine that would have been like absolutely stellar special effects in the day, but obviously it's just kind of like drawn on post-production, literally drawn on as it hits their force field that they set up. And they knew what they were doing then, of course, making that film, because a force field that doesn't there's no special effects for it. It just, oh, it's on, okay, cool. But because they said that, it's a thing. Less is more. It's an easy 8 rule. Yeah, Forbidden Planet's right up there, I think. So, was Robbie the robot in Forbidden Planet? I'm sure he was. They bring him out to test the environment, don't they, from the spaceship? And then I believe that they used the actual robot itself, or parts of it, for the Lost in Space TV series back in the old black and white series days. Am I right in that? That's just something that's hanging over from my childhood. It's like a memory. I don't know if I'm right at all there. Massive fan of all the old Godzillas, the old 1960s black and white Godzilla series as well. And when I was young, I was growing up. I don't think I need to say both of those sentences. When I was young and growing up, my dad, Jeff, would let me stay up on a Tuesday night if I'd been good, because Godzilla was broadcast at like 11 o'clock at night, and I really wanted to watch it. I absolutely loved it. But also on a Sunday, when I was a kid, we'd go to my granddad's house, who was 100 this month. He passed away some years ago, but he would have been 100 this month. We used to go to his house on a Sunday, and we would watch TV. And in the daytime, they would have things like Lost in Space. But if I cast my memory back, Lost in Space is the furthest one back I can remember. But we did Lost in Space. We did Land of the Giants. How cool was that epic? What was the other ones that we used to watch? Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. That's a cult classic. And then there was also like Deep Sea Voyager, which I think was trying to ride off the fame of Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. Excuse me. But they just, yeah, absolutely cracking programs. They really were. Right, I've got the orange on that one cloak that I needed to paint. He is, yeah, kind of all done there. Now I need to go back to the other ones. I've got 3 of them that need to have their linings done. So I need to get back in with some red on the insides of them. Yeah, is my camera still hot? It has cooled down. Cool. Jeff says, I think The Thing remake is 1982. I only know it because it's my favourite sci-fi film. I think it's incredible. Beast from the Id is what Jeff's talking about. That's the Beast from the Id. That's in Forbidden Planet, right? That is the creature from that. And Robbie is in the Forbidden Planet 1956. And it was in colour. Cool, right? Same with War of the Worlds, was 1957. And that was in colour as well. Yeah. Let's get some red paint. So this red paint is Vallejo's gory red, but it is essentially a crimson. It's a nice colour. I struggle with reds when I'm painting a lot of it. I struggle to like highlight it without making it look pink. And I struggle to shade it correctly using blacks and browns. So I've yet to really find my place with it. I'm going to go to my number 1 brush, I think. I've got a 0 here, I don't want that one. Let's get the 0 out. Cool. Sorry, the 1, not the 0. I just put that away. Now, because these miniatures have cloaks and they're models, they obviously have a certain amount of thickness to them, which presents a small problem in the fact that you've got to paint that edge, because it's like a good millimetre or 2 thick. But cloaks and things in real life, or just fabrics in real life, tend not to have a thickness that's that thick, even a millimetre or two thick. So you have to paint them, and choosing the right colour for it is really quite important when you've got a two-tone colour like I have, or a two-tone effect. So I've got a red on one side and an orange on the other, so the lining of the cloak is red. But then I've got like the sort of thickness to it that runs around the outside, and it's important to get the colour right for that. Do you paint it the inside colour or the outside colour? On my other ranges, I've painted the outside colour, which is the orange, which I think was the right move. I didn't want the inside of the cloak to look like it was somehow spilling out, if you like. But unfortunately, as I can't show you right now, the inside of the cloak does kind of run up the length of the model, which, if you don't get it covered, stands out like a sore thumb as an unpainted area. Okay, cool, I've got that one. I'm probably only going to need 2 coats of this red, which makes me happy. So, there's the inside of that one done. I've done this one here before, but I didn't do a very good job of it, so I'm going to go in and do that now. I think this was another one that I did with silver, because I painted a couple of them silver, but I didn't do all the orange on them. So I must have painted the red on the inside of this one over silver, and it's still looking quite silvery. I don't want to come in and have to undercoat anymore, so I'm just hoping that the red covers better than the orange. It looks like it does already, which is good. There is less red to paint on them than there is orange, but because it's going inside the miniature and around the legs, it's actually a little bit more fiddly, so it takes a little bit longer than I wanted to get that done. Moving on to the third one. There's only 5 here, so it's not like I'm doing a whole squad of 10. Just making sure that while I'm trying to speed up, I am keeping it neat as much as I can. Jeff says, is there much terrain needed for these minis then? Just asking. Terrain needed for for basing them, or like additional terrain to kind of match the tabletop in for fighting them? If we're matching the tabletop, not really, not over what you would normally do. They're a part of the Imperium, so they're a part of the whole Space Marine and the Imperial Guard, or the Astra Militarum now as they call them. So basically all the human derivatives. So yeah, these are the guys that are actually responsible for making a lot of the stuff in the Imperium, the human empire, if you want to call it that. So yeah, Martians are like the original Forge world, and they don't just make weapons, they construct everything. So they're tech priests. They devote themselves literally religiously to their cause. To the great machine god, and they're just like construction and mechanic demigods. They make all the war machines, they make all the buildings. But they were better at it in the past. So like Stafford mentioned last week, he said that like the whole Horus heresy, which is the sort of 30k to 40k sort of timeline, if you want, in the 10,000 years since the heresy, mankind has lost its sort of technical wonder, and because like we're talking such large spaces of time, eons essentially, and humanity's been through like several dark ages, we've lost the records on how to create things, much in the same way I suppose like that medieval technology is kind of lost to us as modern humans now, where metallurgists, is that right, metallurgists, and blacksmiths and etc., back in sort of the Dark Ages, medieval ages of medieval Europe, could create weaponry and armor in a way that not even modern technology can kind of equate to. We can't create swords using traditional techniques to the same level of quality that an ancient blacksmith could, and I suppose that's the same sort of thing, just exacerbated more over a much larger time frame. So the sort of Horus Heresy times, the sort of the 30k universe, there are more machines available to them, so you get much broader scope of like vehicles and weapons and things, which is kind of like an interesting story thing. And then through the heresy, through the the chaos essentially plaguing the Imperium and turning people into Chaos Marines and things like that. Over that time, they have lost much of their sort of artifact technology and the great standard template construct and the time of the STC. So you'll get sometimes you'll get like Martian units that go out specifically looking for these templates, or these like patterns, if you want to call them that. And the thing is, they're not just blueprints to making a particular machine, they are holy scripts, because they believe that they are paying a tribute into a deity that kind of governs all machines and things. So it's not just as simple as a blueprint, a tool set to make a machine. It's so much more than that for them. But also, STCs have often been referred to as machines as well. So it's not necessarily just finding the plans to make these machines or weapons or armor or anything like that at all. They are often, it's a machine that makes them, and they are so sacred that wars get fought over them, which I think is a fascinating concept for a story. And in some references, STC machines have been so vast and complex that they are actually the planet or moon themselves. I've not read the particular source that says that, but I have been told that on good authority, which is kind of cool. So in the time of the great industry period within the sort of 40,000 or 30,000 time or law, people who were making stuff like the Martians, or the Adeptus Mechanicus as they call themselves, got so good that they were like creating machines that just kind of create war machines, and they are so complex that they are essentially celestial bodies. Not all of them are like that. One of the things that I keep calling them Martians colloquially for viewers who don't know much about it, but the Adeptus Mechanicus, or the Martians, one of their things that they go to war over is the STC, or an STC. It might be in a story that an exploration fleet has found one, so they have to go and get it, but it's being guarded by someone, or there's an indigenous population or something. I think that's cool. So again, on this particular model that I'm painting now, I am just making sure, like I said a minute ago, just going up on the inside of the lining, on the inside of the coat, and as it comes closer to the breast, it's just like a piece of fabric that kind of folds over, but you have to kind of get in behind it, because if you don't get it, the unpainted section in there really shows. I'm trying to desperately not get it painted on anything else. Cool. One more for the first layer of red. What the red is doing is darkening the whole sort of tonal appearance of the model, because they've got this much brighter white color on there. It makes the whole model kind of stand out, and it shows you, like, you know, the sort of a power of a background color actually makes the whole thing kind of pop out and stand out to you. But as I'm painting the red into it, it's darkening the whole miniature down. Painting in around some details, understanding that you guys not being able to see that, just looking at me painting quietly to myself, it's not really much of a show, is it? It's alright, I'm okay with it. These things happen. I'm going to get like loads of messages as the week goes on now. Oh man, it's a really good show, and sorry, it doesn't affect the quality of what you do. And these are all wonderful words, thank you so much, but yeah, the show is kind of still watching what I'm doing. So you'll still get my apologies nonetheless. It's a little bit annoying because I'm trying to spend money on the show, buy new equipment. I've got a brand new microphone to go up, haven't had time to really play with that just yet. Just trying to improve the studio, improve the content of the show. You know, and then the camera doesn't want to play because, you know, feelings. It's... Come on, man, you know, help me out now. Painting around the legs is a little tricky, like I was saying a minute ago. Just trying to make sure that I don't get this paint all over just every other piece of the model. It's tempting to just want to kind of go crazy and just, you know, splash all this paint all over the place, but obviously it's going to affect the overall miniature. There we go. I'm just going to let my eyes reset for a minute because wow, that's quite intense. While I do that, I think what I might do is do that little job on the robot, I think. So where's he gone? Here he is. So yeah, he's got his little shoulders, as you saw a minute ago. He's got some little like coffee stains just on the corners of those shoulder pieces. So I'm just going to try and lift those away with a little bit of cleaner, airbrush cleaner. This is a little trick that I learned from Luke, who watches the show. Lately he's very busy and has been watching it like in free time. Hi Luke. Kind of, yeah, one of these little things that he came up with, which was just get a little bit of airbrush cleaner, stick it on the end of a brush, and just ever so gently, just kind of play it on the area they want to lift it. And I'm going to be really careful, because what could happen now is I get more coffee staining, but kind of in reverse. So I'll create a hole that goes to a cleaner part of the model because I'm cutting through that shade color. So I'm just trying to like brush in various directions, soften that brown colour up, and just sort of spread it around. But it does just want to lift it up, and it has made a clean spot anyway, which is a little bit annoying, but I can always go back in with a little bit more seraphim and you know, touch it back up again. It's just a bit of a double step process, which I've never really been a fan of. I also get if it ain't broke, don't fix it, but I didn't like it and it was very noticeable, so no. trying to soften the edges down now on the clean sort of colour hole that I've made. I don't want there to be stark lines, so I'm literally just feathering the edge of that shade as best I can, which admittedly isn't very good. Okay, I'm going to hold it up to the camera so you can see what I'm talking about. So, just there on the shoulder, you might see like a little clean bit now. So it's on this side. So, yeah, I've got to go back in with a little bit of Seraphim Sepia and just make sure it's sort of gets toned down again. Wash that cleaner out of that brush. It's quite an effective method, maybe a little too effective. Maybe I could like make a little water cleaner mix. I'm just going to come in with some water now, and just I'm just going to kind of rub it over that area that I just did. I don't know why I'm thinking of doing this. It just feels like a good idea. Oh, that has actually softened down the edges. Obviously, that little bit of cleaner had kind of created a sharp contrasting edge of colour, and we're still sitting on there. And I've obviously just kind of mixed it with a little bit of water, and it's just sort of, yeah, done everything that I needed it to. I'm going to do it on the other corner as well. Cool, I'm just going to put my airbrush on a second, because I like to use the air from the airbrush as a sort of a means of just kind of drying off my paints. Just add a little bit of air to them, chance to lean back for a minute as well. Jeff says, when you replace the camera, can we have a film of this one being burned? I mean, hopefully not. Hopefully I just have to repair it, or just kind of set something up on it, or I don't know. I want to burn it. They're a £100 camera. Yeah, please don't burn my stuff. Okay, now I'm going to come in with a little bit of Seraphim. I will try to replace this camera during the break, see if I can make it happen. But it's going to be tested out live on air. I don't know how that's going to go. Right, a little bit of Seraphim straight out of the pot and straight onto the Mini. Just keeping the paint moving, so I'm just kind of tapping the bristles into that paint. I don't want it to pool, so by constantly touching it, I suppose I'm agitating that paint, stopping it from kind of coalescing into one area as much as I can, and then of course that will help prevent like coffee rings. Looking good there. So I've just got to hold it in this position for a while, I think, just because the paint is essentially water, isn't it? And if I was to stand it upright, it would all just go and pool all over again, and I don't want that. So a little bit of staining is okay, because it just adds to this kind of sort of global texture, if you like. And of course I did miss a bit when I was doing the pin line stuff, so with my zero brush, Gonna come in with a little bit of this on the end of the bristles and just drop it tidily in that little line area. Clean up any little bit of overspill. I'm really struggling to talk today. I am really tired. It's been a long few days. It's why I'm a little bit late sometimes on the show. It's why I'm, sometimes not all there making like the schedule for the show. I love my job intensely, and I'm just there so much. This is a hobby, working on the YouTube here, as with some people like turn it into their full-time career. I thought about trying to do something like that. I don't want to. I love doing what I do. It's just the summer holidays. We've got a lot of children staying with us, and it's just demanding. They're demanding. They're actually a really nice bunch of kids that are with us at the moment, and they're all going home tomorrow. So quite a few of them are getting on a train, or they would be getting on a train, to go back to London, and then back to their families. But we have train strikes here in the UK, and that's causing us all sorts of ugly. So rather than just getting a train at about 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, or 7:30 tomorrow morning, for a 3-4 hour journey, we are putting them on a coach tomorrow morning at 5:45 in the morning for a 6-hour journey, which my staff have to come back on. So that's a 12-hour journey for my staff. So I've got to be in work to make sure that all happens at 5 AM. That bit I don't like. Okay, that's enough playing around with that seraphim for a minute. I'll probably come back to that later anyway, because the arms that go into the giant hands, because they are huge hands, they still need like painting orange, because there's a lot of overspill with red in there. So that's all going to be repainted orange. So then naturally I'm going to have to go in and restain anyway. But that looks much better. Cool. I'm going to go back over to my Rangers here, and I'm going to have another go at the red colour, and the red's going to go back inside their cloaks. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to neaten up the edges, the orange, and then just basically doing any last little coats of orange. So there's that one miniature that I painted earlier. He's got a really thin coat on him, on his coat. Oy. So I've got to paint that again, and just make sure that all their cloaks are completely done in both red and orange, with no undercoat spots missing. And then it's a time for washing, and that gets quite exciting because that's half the miniature done by that point, because then it's just doing the trim on the metal and painting the gun. The gun, I can't quite remember how I did it. They got trousers as well, but that's a nice simple job to do at the same time as the gun. I think I painted the wood parts of the gun with an undercoat of white, so that's where I'll start, and I'll kind of block all those colours out. And then I think I went over it with like a light brown, and then I went over with a contrast brown, and that helped to saturate that colour, make it quite rich, like an old antique wood colour, but it also helped define the edges around some of the details a little bit more, like a wash would, but without actually having to apply a wash, which is really cool. So yeah, again, just trying to refine the process, speed it up a little bit. Obviously I've caused myself a delay with undercoats and silvers and things, but whatever. So I'm on the first miniature here, going straight into that cloak. If it looks like that it is still thin but probably could get away with it, one more coat would definitely do it. I'm probably going to leave it. I'm not going to go in for a third coat after that, simply because it's got a lot of shadow in there anyway, because it's on the inside of their cloaks, but also because I'm going to go over it with a whole wash later anyway. Just a light bit of seraphim, just like I have with the robot, and that'll just add some tonal variations, darken it off a little bit, semi-weather it, which is what I did it for originally, but it really sets a nice sort of tone over the whole model. What I am going to do differently, and I'll get the camera up in a minute working even temporarily to show you another comparison, is I did use Agrax Earthshade on my first Rangers to create like weathering at the bottom of their cloaks, which didn't work. It looks appalling, and I was not able to recover it from that. I was able to use some cleaner, airbrush cleaner, go in, remove it, but then I had this really, really clean band all the way along the bottom. That looked even worse, obviously. So then I went in with some more Seraphim to kind of tidy at the bottoms, and it just kind of failed. And I was quite upset with it. What can you do? So I tried to just make it look as good as I possibly could, knowing that in the next round of minis that I painted, I could try and avoid that problem by not doing it in the first place. I'm on the second model's inner cloak or cloak lining. So to come back to the question that Jeff posed earlier on, which was, is there any specific scenery for these guys? Yes, there is. Beyond the standard Imperium stuff, they are the designers behind the whole Gothic appeal. So everything is quite Gothic-y. With the Martian stuff specifically, from what I can gather, it's often portrayed as being even more opulent or ornate, because they're basically, well, their homeworld is a point of pride, so they're obviously going to save all their greatest works for their homeworld. So if you're on Mars, or you're on a planet that's been built by Mars, then you would expect to see some very extravagant, highly detailed engineering on an epic scale. In fact, that was actually really well portrayed in the video game Space Marine, which is an absolutely fantastic shooter game. It's not just because it's a great shooter game; it sets the tone of the universe perfectly. I personally feel, and there is a part in the game. It's like an interactive movie to a degree. I think it's fantastic. There's a part where they are walking from a complex to a train station, but it isn't like your standard King's Cross or your Grand Station, Central Station, although that probably is closer to it. It's this huge, almighty Gothic piece of engineering, where there's a train that is just as elaborately made. But as they're walking through it, they're looking into the distance at this massive bridge. It's like a huge suspension bridge, but on a 40k scale. And the three Space Marines, as you're walking past, just have like a bit of chatter, and they're discussing how incredible a piece of engineering it is, and saying that the tech priests, the Adeptus Mechanicus that came here, like really showed their caliber doing it, and it was a masterful piece of engineering. And that, we're worried about it was going to get destroyed by the orcs who were invading the planet. So yeah, it was a marvel in and to itself. We are at halfway point through the show, so what I'm going to do now, as we often do, is we're going to take a short break. My camera is still, it's just turned off. It's not even there anymore. Crazy. So I'm gonna see if during this break I can replace the camera, see if I can get it in place. I honestly don't know if I can. It might cause all sorts of like software conflicts because they've all got their own individual names. I just don't know, but I will do my very best to get this one out of position and get the other one in position, and see if we can carry on with normal service. Who knows? In the meantime, if you're painting something right now, you should definitely go and change your paint water. Go, just do it. Go on. Bye bye. and I have returned. Interesting little break, not the normal run for a cup of tea, grab a snack kind of a break that I have. Did change my paint water, just proof for you. It was bright orange a second ago. Got another camera here. Here is the offending article right there, which apparently Jeff wants me to ceremoniously burn. I'm not sure if I'm happy with that, but it can live over there just for the moment on the floor where I might step on it. So this one's in place. I'll give it a go. I honestly, I don't know. It's plugged in. Let's just give it a go, shall we? If I can find my little workbench. Here we go. Let's give it a try. Fingers crossed. Shut up. It's only working, isn't it? It is. Is it upside down? It's not even upside down. Okay. We're here. Let's not... Is Leslie saying, no, it can't be no snack. I did not have time for a snack. No. It's working, right? Okay, that's a plus. Let's just see what happens here. Cool. It's a little bit wonky because I haven't had a chance to kind of set it all up into position and things. But right, so I have been. I'm so sorry about all the problems with it. It's not okay. I tried to run at least a semi-professional looking show, and yeah, having this fail all the time is really embarrassing. But I have been painting hard, I promise. So you can see that I've got all these guys here with their orange cloaks, their silver bodies, and I've been painting fastidiously the insides of their cloaks. I've still got a little bit left to go on them. Because you can see they're a little tiny bit streaky. There's a couple that are a little darker than others because, well, one's had like a few more coats on it. This one here, this is one still got the silver background, but it just covered better. The red did than the orange over the silver. Orange was it was never going to do it. And you can see that in there, there's a little bit streaky in there. The focus is a little bit out because it hasn't been set up. Is it going to do it? There it is. You can see quite clearly. Bring that colour in, light in there. Yeah, they're really fun models. So these ones have got slightly different weapons on them than the others. So they come with these as a standard. This is their standard galvanic rifle. That is possibly the coolest sentence ever. They're supposed to be like electrical weapons, like they have electrical sort of rounds to them, make you paralyzed because you're being voltaged. But they're supposed to be like all archaic in design. This one here is an arc rifle, so the idea is that it fires lightning at you, I suppose, like an electrical bolt, but it can splash out to hurt your friends or your allies, so you have to be careful with that one. And this one here is called the plasma caliver, so it's basically a plasma gun, but it's just got a fancy name for it. For the Adeptus Mechanicus, it's kind of got like a flamethrower, same sort of flamethrower sort of attachment underneath, and cool side-mounted sort of ammo pods on the side there, if you like. And I think the idea is that it's supposed to be a bit of a flamethrowery concept of the plasma gun. I don't know. Yeah, cool. So I just thought I don't really care about how they play. I like the rule of cool. I like it on my model, so I'm going to keep it. In the other 5 that I made, they're all galvanic rifles, apart from this one. This one has the trans-uronic sniper rifle. It's basically like a really long sniper rifle with a little monopod on the end. Yeah, which I didn't make very well. And then there's the sort of a sergeant style model, if you like, their alpha, who's got like a cattle prod, a taser goad, and he's also got this little weapon here, which I can't remember what that is. Who cares? Looks cool. Looks like a Nerf gun. I think it's funny. Leslie has says, it served you well. A cremation by yourself would be a fitting send-off. I'm not burning the camera, guys. It's not cool. It would be cool, but I'm not going to do it. Unless there is no saving it, in which case I will burn it. But just don't tell Greta Thunberg. Okay, cool. I'm just going to do another coat of red on the insides of these bad guys. Looking at this one here, just to show you, you can see there's a bit of overspill inside the fist, but it's still on the arm, and you can see it in here as well. I've done a pretty good job of trying to hide that sort of patch on the shoulder. Might need to give it a quick second layer of, the brown wash over it. It's looking really cool. It looks ever so slightly weathered. I didn't want it to be a major thing. I don't know how to do the gun on this one yet. I could paint it all black and make it kind of like burnished metal, so like it's been painted black but it's all kind of like, you know, sort of coming away and metal underneath, or I could just go ahead and paint it silver like I've done with everything else. It is a nice silver, isn't it? Look at how shiny it is. If I bring up one of these guys in comparison, can you see the luster, the shiny quality between the two? So yeah, look at the reflection on this one. It's really cool. I'm concerned that if I start doing a black wash that's on this one here using balsamic basilicum grey, it will just matte this whole sort of metal effect and lose everything that I've been trying to get on it. If I was to go with some non-oil, I might even go and like ditch what I've currently got and get the new recipe, which is so much better. I could get the gloss one, which might help with the sort of reflective qualities of this metal. It might just do what I want it to. I don't know yet. Anyway, I'm just going to get on and paint some red. I'm so behind because of this camera, so I'm quite keen to just soldier on. How are your projects coming on? Leslie, you're painting a great big renegade knight thing. How is that coming on? Jeff, are you painting anything this evening? Because I know that you've been working on some really big secret projects and stuff lately. If I am out of shot, I do apologise. I say my camera has all been sort of moved. If there's anybody else watching, I can see that there are a few of you there. Kes, what are you painting this evening? Your snow effect was looking really good, by the way, on Facebook. Been following that quite closely. I have mentioned before, I'm sure in last week's episode, because Kes has been doing like some snow effects on trees and things, that if you are interested in snow effects, John Takax, hi John, over at Out of This World Models and Minis. We're not like affiliated or anything like that. I like to talk about his show quite a bit because he follows Easy 8 really closely all the time. He's a great follower. He's a sound dude. He's got a very similar sort of outlook to painting models I have. Just kind of does what he wants because it's fun, and he's got a really good following behind him. So well done. Anyway, as I was saying, he did a little video a little while ago where he painted some space wolves, and he's done the, like, in his mild sort of grim dark sort of style, and it really works. It's not like a heavy grimdark style. They're not parade standard, which I think is what he said to me. Yeah, and they look absolutely brilliant. But they're on snow bases, and John's done it like this wonderful effect. And I think snow. I've never tried it, but from what I've heard, snow effect can be quite tricky. And if you're interested to see John kind of like work on his snow bases to get some sort of inspiration, you should definitely head on over to his channel. Like the unscripted plug, free advertising. That's what this show is all about. Oh, there's literally, as I'm talking about, there is John. John is saying hi, or just popped in to say hello. At work now, but we'll check out the replay later. John, thanks, John. I won't keep you from work. You get yourself back into that kitchen, sir, and make me some fries. John and I have been having a bit of a laugh recently because a couple of episodes ago I mentioned, thanks for the kind words. No, you're welcome, John. We were talking about this tool here from Citadel. I rate it. I think it's brilliant. Go back a couple of episodes and watch what I say about it if you really want to get back to that. But I did mention that it was a bit like Marmite, being that some people hate it, but some people love it. There doesn't seem to be any in the between. Realising, of course, that we've got quite a decent US following and a following outside of the UK in general. So we've got some people like in Europe as well, who may not know what Marmite is. Well, Marmite is a spread that we have in the UK that you put on your toast. It's a yeast extract, and it's very salty. I freaking love it. I can't get enough of it. I don't think it's very good for you, but it's very tasty. It's like a treacle. It's a very thick black stuff. If you're not expecting it, if the first time you've opened it, it's probably going to make you go ick. Trust me, it's delightful. It's similar in appearance, but not in flavour to Vegemite. There are a lot of people out there that will tell you that, oh yeah, it's like Vegemite, it'll be fine. It's not. I've disappointed a lot of Australians in the past. I've worked with a lot of Australians before who, because it looks similar, think subconsciously that it's going to be the same flavour. I know I'm babbling, but it's a funny story. Basically, John piped up at the end of that video and put in the comments that for all of his years of chefing, because I believe he works in the catering industry, and all the visits he's made to the UK, he's never tried it. So I said, jokingly, you should see if you can acquire it, or I'll see if I can send it over to you, because I know that it's hard to get in the US, and you should do like a little reaction video on your channel, which I will of course ceremoniously plug over here at Easy 8. To which he agreed. Hilarious. So I was going to try and get him some, but he actually managed to get it on Amazon, so I don't know how long that's going to take to get to him. If it's actually being imported from the UK, it must be. So it's probably got to go through all sorts of customs trials and things. You know what customs is like, man. So if I get the time over the next few days, and I'm really pressed for time at the moment, I might do a quick video on Easy 8 here, showing you how to apply it to your toast. Because I think that's going to be a deal breaker. You can't just get Marmite and just spread it thickly, slap it on. Some people will say you can. Don't. Don't spread it on like a jam. You're going to assault your taste buds. You're not going to like it, and we would have lost you. We would have lost another Marmite lover. Now, Stafford, I was telling this story to the other day. Stafford often joins us in the live chat, but is away this week, unfortunately. I was telling him this story, and he's like, "Oh no, put it on as thick as you can. You can't have it too thick. You'll burn your mouth. It's pure salt." Okay, you got to have it on toast. You got to have it straight out of the toaster. You got to put your butter spread of choice on while the toast is hot, so the butter melts into it, and then you've got to get the Marmite on there quick. You've got to have it all set up on the side, ready to go, because otherwise your toast will cool, your butter will start to solidify, and your Marmite will grip the bread and tear it apart, and you won't be able to spread it on, and it'll clump and it'll be awful. So don't do that. Start off thin, get a good covering, and of course the ultimate English thing, have it with a cup of tea. My cup of tea of choice is PG Tips. Not sponsoring in this show in any way, shape or form. Have a nice hot cup of tea. I understand that in the US that they are actually bigger coffee drinkers over there. I'm not a massive coffee drinker. I do like one from time to time. But I cannot function without caffeine, and like literally as soon as the first sip of tea passes my lips, I'm ready to go. Tea and Marmite on toast is, you are being so English. So English. I'm not going to say British. I'm sure it's an English thing. Anyway, that's my story there. We're waiting for John to do this little thing, and maybe it's a great way to connect our two communities even more. To bring the Easy 8 community to John at Out of This World Models and Minis, and to bring his and trying to ride off his coattails of fame. Because he's got a much bigger community than I have. Maybe bring the Out of This World Models and Minis community into the fold over here. And I said that I will reciprocate in kind. I will gladly do a small fun video of something of his choice. And I hope, being a chef, that he has something fun to explore. One of his favourite treats. You do have to consider, John, that I am a religious vegetarian. Like not religious, but like I am very moral with my vegetarian standards. I will not have anything that has been anywhere near the death of an animal. I don't even have milk very much anymore, although I will have milk. I'm not a vegan. So if there is something that you would like me to do to return the favour for funsies, then I will. And perhaps, moving forwards, John and I can collaborate a little bit more on certain projects. I think it'd be fun. You know, like showing each other how to do certain styles or something. John's got like a whole load of skill sets under his belt that I'd be really happy to like have a go at, etc. He was giving me some hints and tips in the last video about you know, working with alcohol, because I was putting alcohol on my models to try and strip colours down a little bit, and like I said, you gotta go like really careful with alcohol, because it will cut right through all your paint in the slightest, most gentlest of touches. It will cut right through to bare grey plastic. But John was saying like actually just a coat or two of varnish over the top of the paintwork will help protect it before it starts to you know, deteriorate too quickly, gives you a bit of time, which is something that I hadn't really thought of, I don't think. Like it feels familiar, but I don't think I did. But Luke, if you remember Luke, one of our regular viewers, helped us set up the Discord channel, is my old co-host Kyle's his brother. We've been talking recently on Discord that we want to kind of collaborate a little bit on the show, and bring some sort of skills development and actually do it as like a project, talking about like acquiring the same miniature and teaching ourselves the techniques to do like really good skin tones. That's a project that me and Kyle wanted to do a long time ago, but obviously Kyle, his life has changed direction, and is not able to commit to the show very much. In fact, it's very rare I hear from Kyle. When I do, is full of Easy 8 enthusiasm, which is wonderful. But yeah, it is a shame that we don't see him that much anymore. But obviously, because we don't see him very much anymore, that project, we can't do that together. So Lucas said that he will pick up where his brother cannot. So yeah, there's lots of cool sort of projects and stuff on the go, and yeah, if you've got any ideas to kind of bring a different sort of element to the show, yeah, that's cool. I'm all ears. It's your show as much as mine, and I look forward to sort of working with people like John and Luke things in the future, just for the fun of it. Easy 8 is all about sharing that community, and kind of sharing all the wonderful skill and talent that there is out there, unceremoniously advertising for people's private businesses and services, of which you can find in the comments to this video a link. In the description, not in the comments, links to various suppliers and providers that I've used over the sort of last 12 months. Obviously, there's one for John there for his YouTube channel. There's one for my dad, Jeff, over at Purple Lion Creations. He's got his website and his Facebook page. And I'm not just saying it because he's my dad, but he's an absolutely incredible model maker. And if you want bespoke terrain made for you for any setting, he will definitely consider your orders, and he works with you right through from conception right through to final product. And I believe Leslie actually had a product made by him, so can vouch for his skill. There's Colin Farron over at Charlie Foxtrot Models, who makes some of the most fantastic laser cut MDF terrain, I think specializing in sort of American Civil War, but for all periods, I think, in a variety of scales. And I've met Colin. He's a wonderful guy and is really passionate about the hobby. Yeah, you should definitely go and check all these guys out. That's what Easy 8 is about, man. It's not about kind of making a profit out of it. It's about sharing everything for the community. You guys deserve to know, right? What's out there and who's out there and what we do, and sharing skills and stuff, so that you can become better and have a better experience doing it. Jeff goes back to say, I'm just pricing up a big build for Salute next year. Salute is a big UK War Games convention. That's really exciting. I'm actually really excited to know a bit more about that. Just scrolling up a little bit because I've missed a few here. Excuse me, Leslie says, really well, thank you. Oh, going back to talking about how he's painting his knight. I won't be able to finish him tonight, but by early next week he should be done. Wow, that's ambitious. Good for you. Jeff says, don't think they will like it. Oh, talking about the Marmite for the Americans. They threw our tea in the harbour. The colonials. Bring back the old ways. Leslie says, I can indeed my giant Nurgle tree. Ah, yeah, that was it, the Nurgle tree. Fantastic. I'm just looking at some posts coming in now from people watching the show. Wonderful. Hi, hello people, hello watching afar. Yeah, let's get a bit of a contest between the Americans over there and us Brits, and if you can suggest something and if I can acquire it, I will try it, as long as it's vegetarian friendly, and I will see if I can get my followers to try it as well. Do you know, I've not been stateside before. I would really like to go. It'd be kind of cool to come over and visit some people over there. Go to some big war game shows or conventions or whatever, meet up with some people, perhaps meet up with John, that'd be kind of cool. Bit of a pipe dream at the moment, but I don't say never. So now that I've got the camera working, you might be able to see if the zoom comes into focus. But just on the inside here, you can see just where I'm pointing at here, that is the inside of the cloak. That kind of follows all the way up on the inside. And if you miss it, it's a big fat line of undercoat just staring right back at you. And because these models were all put together by my friend who gave them to me, I'm not able to get in behind a lot of the details that I did when I first made my set, because I actually had them in several pieces. So I had the torso and the cloak as a separate thing from the legs, and then the arms went on, and then the backpacks went on afterwards as well. So I was able to really get in behind all those details. I don't think I'm actually ever going to have to buy that much infantry because of what my friend's given me, but they're all pre-made apart from one box. So I'm going to have to get used to painting them like this, which is fine. They were a gift, and I got them for free, and I should not complain. And if I did, it would be very stupid and selfish. What a wonderful show we've had today, with cameras not working and talking about culinary delights. This camera's working much better, isn't it? It must be a fault with that other camera. That is incredibly distressing. I'm going to test that camera out in the other position over on my gaming PC, which I don't use very much. I don't have the time at the moment to play video games with my friends across the country. And if it works over there, it works over there, fine. But if it doesn't, obviously it needs to go back to its manufacturer. Again, I'm just now going up on the inside of the cloak in here. I'm out of shot, I apologise. Do you see what I mean about the thickness as well? So I've got, obviously on this side here, orange, on the inside I've got red, but underneath there's a big squiggly line of white because there is a thickness to that, so I'm going to paint that orange as well. That actually looks as rough as a dog's behind on the inside there. That red has gone on a bit patchy. So I'm just going to water it down a little bit, just so I can get a smooth layer going in over the top, nice and thin. undercoat. That is much better. A bit streaky because it was going in a bit claggy. Wonderful. Okay, I think this one here could just do it a bit more. I think I'm happy with all the red on the inside of all the cloaks. That's going to look really good. That's going to look really good. That's okay as well. And last one over here. Wonderful. Okay, cool. Making progress. Let's clean my brushes out. Jeff says, I think you'll be eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Do you know, the smell of peanut butter makes me utterly retch. But for the possible reaction we could get from John with Marmite, not to put you off here, John, could be very similar. Jelly, I believe, is just what we call jam. I don't think it is a different product. I don't think it's a different substance. Is it? Is it? I think it is just because they call what we call jelly is what they call jello. That is in the mold as a dessert or a pudding, yeah. But their jelly is what we call jam. I think I'm right on that. I find all this sort of stuff that like fascinating. We're so similar yet so different. I'll give it a go. I'll do it. I've never actually managed to get peanut butter past my lips, but I will do it if asked to do it for the show, for the likes. I feel so cheap. The things you do. Anyway, let's have a look at doing the trousers on these guys and the guns. So what I need to do now is I need to start blocking out where all the other colours are going to go, and I've learned the very hard way that this screaming skull colour here is my undercoat of choice. This is my secret weapon. This is going to go over the silver colour that I've sprayed on in the areas that I want to put different colours on. So I'm going to have to block out the colours on the gun for the wood effect, and I'm going to have to, I don't know why I put that model down, I can use the exact same model. He's got some trousers, and if I remember rightly, the colour that I used was alien purple, which looks quite blue on my screen, but it is alien purple. If I give it a Waz on the Wazomatic, because what's an episode without that? Give it a good old shake, it comes up a bit more purple. Yeah, it definitely looks blue on my screen. And then I gave it a quick wash over with Army Painter Quick Shade Blue Tone. The reason I bought this is the only bottle that I've got of Army Shade or Army Painter Quick Shade, is I thought that it was a different product, but it is actually just an alternative to Wash's shades from Citadel. It's a nice colour though, so yay. Right, let's give this a shake, give it a Waz. Waz it! Jeff there saying, yeah, jam. Yeah, I think it is jam, isn't it? So what's the difference between a conserve and a jam? Because we have both of those, and as far as I'm concerned, they're the same. Is one more fruity, one more sugary, or are they just, one's a posh name for it? Because we have a habit of that in the UK. Let's make a posh name for it, so the working class can have something different than the upper class. Yeah, oh, that sounded a bit venomous, didn't mean it to be that way, but it's true. I'm going to go in with my number 0 Kalinsky, and I'm just going to get some of the Screaming Skull out, and I'm going to water it down just a little bit. Don't really care about flow improver with this. I'm just going to literally add water, make it a bit smoother. So that I can get a really nice quick coat in some of these details. Okay, I do have to go back for a little bit of that orange, but I'll do that another time. So let's start with this gun here. Now I don't know if I want to do the whole gun, because if I go back to here you can see that there are some silver parts on the gun and there's some gold parts on the gun, and I don't want to like go back over something if I can avoid it with the same colour. Also, I've airbrushed them for a reason, like I think it looks better. So I'm going to try and just keep this paint here. Yeah, that's it, like that then. Now, some of these guys have got bionic hands, so they've got silver hands. Some of them are like leather glovelet things. So they're bionic hands, they can stay silver. If they've got a glove, they'll just go black. At the end, I'm just looking back at another gun for reference to see where the wood bit ends. Okay, so that whole end bit is gold. So all this bit in here is all wood. That's all metal in. There's actually only a little bit of wood on there here, which is actually quite cool. Less to do. This particular hand here, this one is going to be a black one because that looks like it's just a glove. I'm not going to paint that glove with this colour. I'm hoping that my black paint will actually just cover over the silver. But if it doesn't, of course, we know my secret weapon is just to come back in with some of this colour. And then paint black over the top of that. Now, I'm going to come back in with some gold. I wasn't actually ever really bothered about my gold colours. It was just my silvers. My golds I actually really like, and as we've learned a couple of weeks ago when I painted the Necrons, just by painting a filter over them, it actually it kind of affects the colour underneath. Sorry, the colour silver underneath affects the colour on top, as we learned with my priming incident last week. Is that bit there silver? Nope, that bit there is brown. Okay, so the silver underneath might actually enhance the gold colour. That's what I was trying to say there. I really enjoy painting these guys, and I really want to play 40k again. I've been playing a lot of gas stands, I've been playing a lot of water tanker, and I'm looking forward to be able to get back into playing this a little bit. I've always been a fan of the smaller games, although I do like playing the larger games sometimes as well. I've played some really big games of 40k. Not as big as what you can get out there. I haven't gone into sort of anything beyond 3,000 points, but that is still very, very big. I don't need that. There's no need for it. I remember in the sort of early second edition, when I first came onto the scene, that it was a skirmish game. It was about having a few units of Marines or whatever, army of choice it was. You might have a tank or a dreadnought, but it was mostly just like a couple of units of infantry supported by something a bit more centerpiecey. And I missed that style of gaming, but the new rules of 40k allow you to play anywhere from like sort of single squads right up to whole massive titanic armies with full-scale titans and things kind of pondering around all over the place, and I find that really valuable as a player. I like the sort of thought that's gone in to provide gamers of all types of what sort of game they want to play, and I'm looking forward to just being able to make like a little skirmish army of these guys and playing them for the first time, because I haven't played with them yet. I just like them. I just wanted to paint them. Yeah, so if you want to play me at this game once I've got a little army painted, totes invite me over. Okay, so that's wood on the top up there as well. Okay. I think it's safe to say that I need to speed this little process up. I'm trying to go around all the filigree bits on here. There's like lots of swirly decorative bits that are going to go gold, but I don't think I need to be that precious about it. As long as I'm not getting it on the bits that I don't want painted, like the bits I've already painted would be a good thing to avoid. But like some of the silver bits, I don't want to get it on there. So I've tried to have like a wooden base of the gun. I've tried to have silver metal mechanical components, like the main body of the gun, the receiver, and you know, the sort of the workings on it. And then anything that looks decorative, I've been painting gold. I thought that was kind of like a good recipe, if you will. It looks pretty cool. It's got some purity seals on them, which is a very typical thing to see on Imperial models. Little religious rotes that are like on them as protective, like prayer sheets, if you like, almost in the same way that a monk might wear prayer beads. This guy's got a couple of them. He's got some on his arm up here, he's got some under his gun, and I use skull white as the actual colour for those, as like a parchment colour, and then I come in and put a very, very thin layer of seraphim sepia on them later to make them look like they've got some depth. And they've also got like the little stamp on the top, which is like the little wax seal. So I need to kind of paint those the undercoat colour as well, so that I can put a nice bright red on them. And that bright red is going to contrast with the darker reds that I've got on these guys, so the crimson inside their cloaks, or the crimson on the robot's fists, for example. It's quite a bright red, so it kind of pops out a little bit because I wanted it to be visible. Where am I going here? There's a little bit of a purity seal around the back there. Here we go. Oh, I've got a bit of a split bristle issue going on. Okay. And of course, if my orange didn't cover over the silver, the red's certainly not going to. Red I've always found to be a bit of a weak pigment as well, so making sure that there's a good white base down here for that red to go on. There's a bit more water as that paint's getting a bit dry. Lovely. Okay, so any more seals on him? Heart. That's my impression of a seal. That's on the internet now. Okay, so his trousers just down here, or for my American viewers, pants. Feels weird saying that, but okay. Trousers. Trousers. Leslie says, I'd be up for a game that would be killer. Challenge accepted. I'd love to have them painted to play on the table. If I can get them painted before a time that we can commit, then yay. If not, do you mind playing with unpainted models? Is that a thing? How do we feel about that? I try to get as much paint as I possibly can, but I don't think I've ever had a completely painted army. But that's what this show is all about. Getting all of those armies painted. Yes, yes, yes. No more hordes of grey unpainted plastic. Jeff says, do not mount your minis on corks. Let me say, genuinely made me laugh with your seal up. So, well, you're about the only person in the whole world, so thanks for your support. I give you my seal of approval. All I'm doing is thinking of seal jokes now. Oh dear. Jeff says you ought to mount them on corks. Yes, I normally do. I just didn't with these guys. Yeah. I've got no excuse. Because I've been so rushed. This is the excuse. Alright. Because I've been so rushed with work and stuff lately. Yeah, like, I've been struggling to like make the actual schedule for the show, make the thumbnails and the write-ups and stuff, and just to actually just get some painting done during the week. It's been a bit of a challenge lately, but I don't ever want to miss out on a show or anything, so I'm always here. So yeah, it was a bit of an afterthought. I knew I wanted to do something a little bit different than I have been. I've been doing Tyranids for a while. I've done a bit of gas stands for a while, and I've been backwards and forwards on certain things. And I knew that I just kind of wanted to get over and do some Adeptus Mechanicus. I had very little time to prepare for it. If you remember, a couple of weeks ago I said that I didn't even have time to actually make the models. So I just took the ones from the box that my friend gave me. So yeah, here we are. I had just enough time to make sure that they were clean of sprue mouldings or whatever, because they still had like the mould lines and stuff on, and I hate that. There is one trouser leg done there as well. Make sure they get a little bit of colour into the creases there. And I'm going to go to the other trouser leg, separated by the world's largest cod piece. Leslie says, I don't really mind if some of your armies and painters still be an awesome game. Yeah, that's what it's about. I think it's two hobbies, isn't it? There's the gaming side and there's the hobby side, and sometimes, if you're lucky, you cross over successfully in the middle and you have a completely painted army. Of course, if you're a tournament player, then you have to, like most tournaments actually have rules on playing with painted armies. Games Workshop say that if you want to play in their official tournaments, then you have to have, at least 3 colours well defined. So you can't just go like, oh, I'm just going to paint 3 stripes on them and be done. You actually have to like have a good scheme, painted to some effect, with at least 3 colours in there. Because I suppose for them, it's their tournaments are quite high profile, very high profile, and they're a point of advertising, aren't they? The tournaments will be displayed all over the internet, so when people are taking photos of them, like the official GW tournaments and whatever, they want photos of completed products, right? Very tempting for me to miss certain parts here deliberately, because up behind basically his butt and the backs of his thighs, it's all unpainted in there, because it's very difficult to get in there because of the cloak. But I'm not a typically lazy painter when it comes to getting into places like that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna try and introduce a little bit of colour in there, so that if you see it from an angle and you do, or you pick it up and you check it out, it's, I don't know why you'd be looking directly in there, like you're trying to look up his skirt or something, a bit weird. But yeah, I know at that point that I have taken as much effort as I can to cover all that area in that paint. I don't want that to pick it up like a year later and go like, oh no, you can see where I deliberately missed, or didn't deliberately miss. Because it would be really awkward if I like photograph this model and then I used it for like my banner on Facebook for Easy 8, and then like realise later that I've actually been displaying a terribly painted model as one of my main things. Okay, so because we're getting quite close to the end of the show, we've only got 5 minutes to go. I am going to go over a little bit deliberately today, just because of all the problems we have with the camera. I just feel like I'll make it up to you a little bit. So, oh, where's my mouse gone? Here it is. I'll take us over to the little ending screen thing, because, we're going to come to the end soon. I am going to, on air, just put a little bit of this alien purple colour in there. And hopefully this is the same colour that I use. I'm fairly certain it is the one that I did back on these guys. it came out really well. It mimics the colour in... Oh, I've got the hiccups. It mimics the colour in the codex spot on. It's a nice colour. Still looks very blue on the screen. It's way more purple. I don't know how watery this one is. Not particularly watery, even for an airbrush paint. So get a bit of water on my brush. I'll just water that down a little bit. There we go. So Jeff says, is Kill Team a quicker game then? Yes, Kill Team has actually been re-released within the last few years as a whole new game. Because obviously, you know, cash in where you can, right? Make new models, terrain, rules and whatever for you to buy. I've had a couple of goes on it where it was a pre-made army given to me. And I can't remember what I was playing. I think I was against Nurgle, which is what Leslie plays, which is basically zombie chaos. I can't remember what I was. I think I was just standard good old Ultramarines, if I remember right. No, I was Necrons. And it's a very different game. It has a lot of similarities and crossovers, but obviously if you're going to make a different game, make a different game, right? Which I totally get behind. It plays very differently. It's not 40k, although it is set in the 40k world. But it is a separate thing. I don't know if you can like make your own units with your own armies and then take them over to Kill Team, or if you have to like have pre-builts. I don't know enough about it. It is a really fun game. Kill Team used to be, it was a game that came out in a White Dwarf magazine somewhere, I think, and the idea was that you could make up your own small units, like take in like 5 Space Marines or whatever, and just go against hordes of Gene Stealers, for example, or go against another Kill Team. And I really like that. So if Kill Team doesn't allow you to do that, then you should be able to make it do that, or just play with a single squad in 40k, but the game will be over quite quickly, I fear, because it is a war game and it is designed to, you know, end things pretty quickly. And if you're playing a smaller sort of skirmish style game, you want a lot more rules in there for the individuals within units rather than, you know, units. This is such an odd colour, and it's a particularly odd colour to be putting in with all the oranges. It really starts to separate all the colours, so the silver's got a little bit of balance, which is good, because the silver's quite striking. It starts to separate everything a little bit, but it's quite appealing despite being a weird colour. It's appealing to the eye because if you go back months and months ago when Kyle was a part of the show, we talked about the colour wheel, and they're opposing colours, and the colour wheel suggests that if you want to follow its rules, that you should use in some cases you should use opposing colours. They're opposite each other in the colour wheel, and that means that they're quite appealing to the human eye. You of course can use, no, it's far too watery, Dan. You can use like clashing colours, colours that are close to each other, and there's lots of different patterns and things to get out of it. But yeah, this colour works with all the oranges because it's an opposing colour. And silver being, I suppose, just like a metallic grey, isn't it really? It's a neutral in the middle of it all. So they kind of bounce off each other really well. Trying to go around the details as much as possible rather than painting over them. There's like a lot of plugs, there's a lot of plugs and things like pipes and things on these guys' legs, and if I go over them, I kind of got to come back in with a bit of silver and then touch that, you know, over again. If I can avoid doing that wherever possible, all the better. paint his butt. Guy needs his butt painting, obviously. I'm just trying to bring this colour right up to the edges of the other colours that I've put in there as well. I don't want any colours showing through. Sloppy painting. Okay, so his trousers are painted. Let that dry for a second. I'm just going to come back in with a wood colour or a brown colour for the wood. Now, I can't remember which one I used. I think it would be earth. Let's give that a good old waz. Was it this colour? I can't remember now. I've got a few browns down here. Earth colour isn't looking like the colour that I used. It could be Beastie Brown. It could have been my standard charred brown. I don't think it was. Maybe it was. Was it? Need to get some merch with "Was It" written on it tonight. Was it Beastie Brown? Or was it Charred Brown, which is my go-to brown? Here's Charred Brown. I think Charred Brown is too dark. I think that's the wrong colour that I would have used. Let's use a bit of Beastie. Because I go over this with, I think, Snakebite Leather, which is a contrast colour. Settles really chalky at the bottom, but I'll just give that a quick waz as well. Wazomatic! Shake up all that sediment at the bottom of that paint there. This is the colour I went over, so I painted one of these colours down, and then I went over it with this one, and it kind of made it look really antique, which is cool. I do have another brown contrast, which is Gulliman's Flesh, which is more like a skin colour. I actually don't remember which one it is. I don't want to have to go all the way back through my videos to find it out. Leslie says, right, I'm going to have to go. Thanks again for another awesome show. Thank you so much for stopping by, Leslie. It's really nice to see you again in the live chats, and we will arrange something over social media to see if we can arrange a game to play at some point when maybe my life calms down a little bit. Certainly not in the immediate week, but yeah, we'll arrange it, okay? Kes says, you should write down the colours that you use. I do. That's a great idea. Thanks. I did think about it when I was doing it. I just didn't for whatever reason. I think it was because I was experimenting with those colours and just didn't write it down at the time. But yeah, I think it's quite a bright looking brown underneath, and that is quite a bright looking brown here. So I'm just going to go for it. I'm just going to do it. Beastie Brown. That looks like quite a familiar brown. It's a very runny brown, which is good. Be nice and thin, and hopefully the white will kind of make it quite bright. Yeah, this looks very familiar. I remember doing this the first time around. I remember having to do a couple of coats of this because it's quite a weak pigment, and it just looks like some dirt on white. Oh, look, look. I've missed a piece of the trousers. Oh my god. That's my American impression. I'm so sorry for all the people I've just offended across the world there. What time are we at now? We're at 9:05. We don't want to be running too far. The subscribed time is 9 o'clock. Well, it's 2 hours, finishing at 9. So, yeah. You'll have to tune in next week on a much better quality camera to see how this goes. Of course, if I get the time to do any painting during the week, I will post photos of my progress. As you should also put some photos of the stuff that you've been doing tonight, of the stuff that you're going to be doing over the week. Post photos, put them up on Facebook. We're not just here on YouTube, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on Discord. And at the end of today's show, I will be, for a very short period of time, because I've got to be up so early tomorrow, over at the Easy 8 after party on Discord. If you don't have access to that yet, there is a link in the description of this video to all of our platforms, and yeah, there's one down there as well for Discord. Come and hang out for a bit. I'm a hoot. Getting somewhere already, right? Behave. Cool. I like him. I'm going to have to go and paint that leg again there, though. Nice. Righto. Probably about the most dangerous thing I'll say on the show. Righto. Okay, let's come away from the workbench with a camera that's just been so much better. Thank you, camera. Thank you. Right, let's move away from here. Bit of a problematic start to the show this week. My humble apologies for that again. Hopefully now with this other camera in position here, that won't happen again. I say it time and time again, when the camera packs up during the show, it's really embarrassing, and it's not the message I want to be sending. So yeah, I hope you can forgive me. I hope that I just talked enough to distract you at the beginning of the show. But it's working fine, right? It's a good one. So the other one must be faulty. Yeah, I didn't get as much done here as I wanted to, but I am happy with the progress. And I'm happy now that I've got like a recipe that works. And it's just about kind of just refining that process now and getting faster and faster and faster at it. Get that silver on, knowing that the colours won't go over that silver very well. So get that white undercoat colour on that. And then I can put orange on, red on, couple of coats and it's done. And then I can go into things like the purple trousers and then the wood on the guns. And then I'm halfway, I'm way over halfway. And that should hopefully mean that I can get those models painted like in a couple of sittings. That's where I'd like to be with them. And obviously practice will mean that I get them done to a good enough quality. That is it for me this evening. I hope you guys have had a really productive evening. I hope you've had a really fun evening, even though the show has sucked for at least 50%. If you've got any suggestions on how you'd like the show to take a turn, like I was mentioning earlier on, please do let me know. I'm really all ears, and I will do my very best to tailor the show a little bit to how you want it to be done. And if you've got any suggestions from the other side of the pond for things that you want me to eat in response to John... I don't have allergies, but I won't eat animals. Yeah, it was a crazy thing. We just did it. It was funny. All right. look, until next week, make sure that you stay safe and that you be kind and you keep on painting. And I'll see you next week. Hopefully, I don't have a massive early shift the following morning. So yeah. Anyway, take care. See you soon. Bye bye. Marmite on toast. Marmite thin, hot toast, lots of butter. Cup of tea.